Okay, so I'm starting kind of late today. It's almost 6 o'clock already. So, I don't know, it's really late. But this really seems bright. My eyes are bothering me so much. Um, anyways, there was a couple things I wanted to talk about. One of the things was, it was like everything on TikTok is still Ohio stuff, trains, stuff like that. Everybody just is talking about the same thing, but there keeps being more added onto it. Um, but anyways, it's just really repetitive, just lots of, and so much traumatic stuff and people's families. Oh my gosh. So many, so much loss and pain, and it's really sad. It's like traumatic to go on there and see all the different people going through so many different traumas, man. And a lot of people are getting sick. The amount of animals, I guess, that have died. In the freaking governor, it's wackadoo. These people, like the Buttigieg, this guy, it's all set up. Like, it was always going to happen this way, but it's just so absurd. Like, they won't talk. I guess, they'll wait until they get their CNN question, the appointed questions they're allowed to talk about or whatever. So these regular people who keep going up, who the citizen journalists, they go up and try and approach these people and ask questions, and the people snub them. They won't talk to them. Like the governor of Ohio was going to some thing, and some guy was sitting there following him, kept asking him, would he have done that burn if it was right in the middle of Cincinnati or Columbus or something like that? And the governor wouldn't even acknowledge his existence. And then started having all of his posse start trying to push the guy back and stuff. So the guy starts calling, it's all on video. And the thing is like, these morons, there's more people are going to see that than are going to go and watch your stupid questions on CNN. Like, that's the shit that people are watching. And that is the stuff that is going to show that all these guys that have committed crimes, this is what, it's bringing it all to the surface. So then we're going to see, and this guy is obviously, he's in a circle jerk with a lot of corporate bullshit. When you start seeing about how many of these disasters are happening around these old, like, plastic plants, petroleum plants, like you think back of like when things get started. I always go back to, it was the gangsters running shit, like the garbage, they started, getting us dependent on them or something. And it is the same thing. It is like that gangster mentality of coming in underneath the bed. Like, they don't come in through the window. They don't come in through the front door. They don't come in through the back door. They come in under the bed. And that's what, that's what we've got the situation now is it's, like I said, they're playing volleyball all over our heads. And so, anyways, that's really distracting. Sorry. Hold on. I gotta get back to my train of thought. Okay. So, let me think. So because the gangster thing, I still think, like, when I watched that show Deuce, it shows so much about how it was like infiltrated. And so over there with these old industry and old manufacturing, all of that stuff, it was, they're infiltrated into all of that stuff. And so, and there could have been, just like in some of these shows where, some of these politicians who really did have their heart in the right place, are going to have to be put at gunpoint to make the decisions they're told to make. And at some point they just surrender because the system is so corrupt that they really don't have any other choice other than to, participate or be wiped out. And even if you, even if they don't think you're participating properly, they can wipe you out. Like, it's all up to what these people think. It's so crazy too, yeah, when you're in the dark about it and you don't know, but once you see it, and then once you see like with the programming and stuff and all the stuff, like, oh my God, it is so mind-boggling how everything was so controlled like that, you know, just our whole entire lives to the point where they're programming us on the TV, where they're able to create division and control throughout all of our different communities and stuff. But then, you know, so guys like this, so this Ohio governor, you know, to me, I would just think that some of those places, like I didn't ever even really think that much about Ohio until I started hearing about so much of this corruption and the train stuff and who owns this and who owns that. And it's like, oh my gosh, you know, you just like people who go into politics and stuff over there, you're going up against a machine of like it's either become a part of it or you know, don't survive. So, you know, it's sad because not all of these, you know, people who are going to go down are, you know, started out as bad, you know, but that's the game, I think, that we're in is, you know, that's the challenge at this time. You know, all the games are always changing and stuff, but in this game, it is, you know, kind of, you got two voices. You got the one that's talking shit and you got the one that's talking good, and the one that's trying to direct you on a good path and the one that's trying to hold you back. And it's which voice do you let direct you? And there's a lot of people, you know, who, you know, surrender to the darkness. But, you know, a lot of people get, you know, feel like that they don't have any choice. Like how many people made choices? Well, I don't have any choice. I have to because my work said. Those statements are going to come back and slap them, you know, because they have to see like, no, you made a choice. Nothing is making you do something. You made that choice because you wanted something from that. So you did it because it wasn't they made you. You wanted what they had to offer, which was money, and you were dependent on money because you were dependent on the things that you have surrounded yourself with. That is where you have to go in deeper. And that is the part when things flip back and everybody has to see themselves in the mirror, see the truth. That's the part that's going to be the bitch slap from the universe. That's going to be the big part to overcome the obstacle. That's the, you know, it's like the last challenge in the leveling up. And then it's kind of like a new game is going to start, but we're going to be a lot of different levels of the game. So I don't know so much of like where people have talked about this physical splitting of the earth and everybody going in two different ways. If it's more of an energy, if it's more of an energetic, so some people are focused on, because as this dividing kind of thing happens, we have the dark and the light. And so you come into this planet and to this game, and you're, you know, from a realm where you understand your connection, you understand yourself, you understand everything. So then you come into the game, but you don't get to understand. But see, as a soul, you think that's the challenge. You know, I can remember no matter what. And you know, and I don't know that I would have remembered things if they weren't talking to me so loud when I was a kid. And, you know, and now I just know that was my role. So, you know, so I don't want to say like certain things are easy or whatever when I don't know they're easy, because they were so easy for me. So I don't know, you know, I don't know where it is, because to me, everybody had to hear the two voices when they were kids. Just somewhere they turned them off. Somewhere they chose, you know, the dark or something. But, you know, it's that feeding the darkness in the game. See, the game will give you little coins back, just like in a game, you know, get a little coin, cha-ching, cha-ching, you know, and then pretty soon you got this full pocketbook of cha-chings and you still feel empty. And so then it's like, you know, why am I feeling so crappy? I've got all this whole bag of gold here. Why do I feel so crappy? Is because all your energy is going into something that is not giving you anything back in your soul. And that is putting, like what I was talking about yesterday, the natural part, the nature part is giving you back to your soul. You know, going out and sitting and, listening to birds sing, like what's on the thing. I do like this one for the morning time because it does do something for your serotonin and stuff to give you balance in the morning to listen to birds song. But that feeds your soul. So, having nothing can fulfill you more than having everything. And that is the challenge in the game is to learn that you don't need the things that the game tells you you need. You need the things that make you feel fulfilled, not the things that leave you feeling empty and exhausted because you're chasing this all the time, trying to get it. And having, simple, but that seems to be the divide, because you have the science, which to me is the instigator. It's the phenomena. It's the made up thing to get you to be like, well, it's science, but then you go to school and you learn about science, and science is all just a conjecture. It's all just, well, maybe if we get enough people, and then that's where we become the lab rats. Well, if we get enough people to see and we test this, then we'll know how it goes. I thought, M. Night's movie that he just did, Old, that was like in perfect timing, because it shows that's exactly the world we live in. We live in a fucking giant, and each lab is in competition with the other, and that's also coming out with this one derailment over there. But that the different governors, like there's a bunch of different governors' names going around now. We got all these judges and all of these different people's names going around with their corruption. And so that's, they're going to come on to the center stage. Like, I never had seen this guy before. I can't even think of his name right now. The guy said it a million times too. But anyways, it's the governor of Ohio. And just so arrogant. It's so, oh my God. Not at all caring about his, his area, his governor. I mean, they're to the point of like, they're so cut off from everything. I mean, a mayor, but so far in our system, people who even went in to be mayors, seems like it was more about ego than about community. And then, so that has to change. And then you work your way up, senators already, they become disconnected from their state. They don't give a shit. So that's why all of the people have to recognize, no, we have to keep, we don't need this big political system that they tell us. No, we just need local, governing, our own community in charge of its own self. There's this ridiculousness of what they have set up and how they set it up with all the criminal stuff, just having it set up like, well, we get all this stuff from China. We don't even make our own shit. And, well, that's real easy now. China can poison us and we're in the middle of this war. Well, that worked out real well for them, didn't it? I wonder whose back pocket and our politicians are in theirs, And that's the whole freaking thing, is the circle jerk of this system that they've got going. And then it's, global. Then all that's being exposed because of all of the wars and stuff and everything that's coming out, all this stuff where Putin's the bad guy and he's coming out and saying, oh no, I'm done being y'all's scapegoat. No, we're going to tell the truth here now. And so he's out there, saying the stuff of, they're liars. And America is the one that goes in and destroys and kills all these people and steals all their, well, we were big on the stealing the oil there for a while. And you know what also I gotta say too, I thought this was so cool because, when I was talking about the flower thing, and when I was sitting there, and I was looking over at the canvas and I saw the flower, it wasn't like I saw the total detail of how it's painted, but it was more like vague. It was more like in a shadow kind of thing. So I just went over and I painted it. And then did the other ones, and now I'm going to have some canvases come today, so I'm going to do some more, which I looked it up. A series is only 5 paintings anyways. I've got a lot of series, but anyways, and I was talking about like the rebirth, and about when you're doing, well, for me, what I've noticed is when I'm doing a painting is somehow is representative of what's going on in my life at the time. And I said it's like this rebirth is happening on the planet, and in nature, this natural rebirth, because it's science against nature. That's the divide. You know, it's the artificial. You want to keep chasing the gold, or do you want to connect to what you are and what this place is, and really feel that fulfillment? And in how it is like this representative of this rebirth, and all of that stuff that I was saying. Anyways, this coolest video last night, this woman, she just pulled over on the side of the road, and she said she was like 2 miles down from her house. And she said, so she drives past this all the time when she goes out of her house, and it's this big field, like it was kind of like somebody's house. So it was out further. It wasn't like a neighborhood. And so they had like a big field for a yard, and then there was more fields. So I don't know what part of the field was theirs and what part was just, you know, natural or whatever. But everything, it was just like a field, just so much. It looked like daffodils, but it was yellow flowers. I think she found some that were white too, but I think it was daffodils. All these daffodils just suddenly just came up. And she was like, you know, this isn't even the time of the season. Like, this is so weird. And where did they all come from? And it was just so many. And I was just like, oh my gosh, right after I was just saying that. And then, you know, the earth is, you know, just rebirthing, this whole rebirthing process. And the more that those of us who wake up and notice and connect with her, the more life we give her, the more respect we give her, the more of our energy goes into, you know, saving the planet. Like, so many people are talking about with the derailment, how many animals have died. I've seen so much footage of people sharing as the animals are. Somebody was showing a raccoon. It came up in their, it was like in their yard, and it was totally neurologically, you know, falling down, just like all the chicken, all these things they keep showing. It can't walk, and it's falling, it's confused, and it's like, that's the stuff, you know, that people have to witness, because it connects them to, you know, that there's more here going on than just, you know, getting to work and getting your paycheck. And especially when all this stuff now has come out, you know, the whole point of giving us a paycheck was just to make sure we had to pay our taxes so they could get taxes out of them, because we're not even supposed to be taxed. Taxes are supposed to be if we want to pay taxes. The only thing that's supposed to be taxed is corporations, and that's why they turned us each into a corporation using a birth certificate. It's such scam bullshit. And then, you know, we all just participate. Well, our parents did, and, you know, well, we have to pay taxes. Well, we have to do this. No, we don't. It's just because they all of a sudden decided we did. And then we all just said, okay. Then they hired people to go and chase us down and charge us and arrest us. I saw a woman being arrested. I've seen so many ridiculous, absurd arrests lately, where it's like, oh my God. And I saw one where the girl kept trying to say, you know, she knew her rights. And the cop was just like, I don't give a fuck, and arrested her. And that's why I was saying, it's really risky to do that. Like the guy who I saw, who the cops left him alone, is when you start spouting out the actual ordinance numbers or the numbers of stuff where you sound like you know what you're talking about. She had a little bit of a, like, I'm saying I know my rights, but, you know, ooh, you know what I mean? She said it with a little too much hesitancy, even though she kept saying it, and get your supervisor, you can't tell me, and stuff like that. But you gotta realize, like, these cops are on autopilot. They're robots at this point. They're doing what they're told. That's like the common thread that keeps going on with people right now is, you know, they're following orders. They're doing what they're told. And that is going to be the real hard slap when they find out, you know, you can't do what you're told. You're held accountable for what you do. And there's going to be people who are going to find their, on the back end of this firing squad situation. It's not going to be pretty, and it's going to be sad. It's going to be hard, because some of those people are going to go down are going to be like regular folk. Pharmacy is not going to just all be the elite package. There's going to be players that, have a little bit too much dark in them, a little bit too enjoying, people crying and people being sad and stuff, and they thought they could keep that a secret because they're going around smiling. Some even may go to church, probably a lot of them, because, that place seems to just carry some darkness. It's like a place you can go and feed a darkness or something, because it's just, you can say something and you don't have to be it. You can just claim a title. I'm this, I'm a Christian, therefore I'm a good person. Everybody could just run around, I'm a Christian, I'm a Christian, I'm a good person, I'm a Christian. It's like, but are you what a Christian to me is claiming that I follow the path of Jesus. But like I said yesterday, all they're all looking for is a savior. Doesn't seem like anybody wants to follow the path. Like, they don't care about what he said is the way to enlightenment, the way to fulfillment. It doesn't matter about that. No, I just want to do some shit, and then I want to have him come in and save my ass. It's like, that's that right there. That's not Christ consciousness. That's not, that's feeding the dark. And that's where so many people are feeding the dark. But that is where they talk about the split, is I think that it's going to become clear what you're feeding, and then when somebody recognizes what it is they're feeding, it's like a transformation that has to occur, because you have to, recognize you're programmed. You have to deprogram yourself. You have to recognize all of the trap that you have created for yourself to hold you in this place. So, it's a big process. It's going to go through. And I've heard more and more people talking about, like, in this shift that's going to happen for the people who have done the work. It's going to be like this giant, like the energy that we've been putting in is going to, just be really, really phenomenal or something. Like, and there's going to be people who have really tremendous gifts and stuff. Like, I can tell mine keep going more and more and more. Like with the telepathy and I don't know, all those clairs and stuff like that. And you know what? Another thing, remember when I was talking about with the weird smells and stuff? Then it seems almost like I'm moving through my life in smells or something. Like, all of a sudden I'll just get this weird smell where all of a sudden I'll feel like I'm at this place for a second that I was like when I was a teenager. And for a lot, like, I don't know how many weeks ago, where I kept having all these weird smells from like elementary school. I kept smelling the rolls cooking. And then when I would smell that smell, I could taste that taste. And I remember I used to always think it kind of tasted like a bloody kind of taste. And I was thinking it must have been they were probably cooking them actually in cast iron pans when I was a kid. And it was probably the iron in the pans that we would get. And we would always have real butter. I just remember how much I loved those rolls at school. And, it's not even something that you think about that much, but all of a sudden when you just smell them all of a sudden, and it's like, oh my gosh, I remember those. But I started thinking about it, thinking about that weird taste. It was kind of like, when you got a cut, when you're a kid and you're out playing, you get a cut and you lick it real quick. And it was like that would have that smell. And I would always think, I wonder why it has that same kind of taste as blood. And I would always think that when I was a kid. Why do these remind me of that same kind of blood taste that gives you that, I don't know, it's like a recognition of your tongue or something to it. And, but, now as an adult, and knowing about cast iron and stuff like that, and knowing about how back in the day, now there's people saying if you're not cooking with Teflon or cast iron, then you're getting poisoned. There's everything, every single freaking thing, like poison all day long. Our whole environment has been poisoned. It's been artificial. It's been toxic. And, you know, we would run around. When I sit there and think about some of the stupid shit that I would do or believe because science said, and now realizing how much of it was just bad for us. You know, the whole thing, even with sunblock. How many people got cancer from going and putting that shit on them and going and sitting in the sun? Like, I don't know. I'll just be so glad when we switch out of this game that we got going here. I saw too, so well, lots and lots of people are talking about that guy who I was talking about yesterday, who I was saying, I think he's like an astronomer or something. I guess he's like some sort of geologist who understands astronomy or something. I don't know. But people who follow him say, you know, he's very accurate. And they're always like, he did all the Turkey earthquakes. And by following something with the planets and what the earth is doing, where it's shifting and stuff like that. And so this guy, I saw tons of people talking about him. So, I mean, other people may already know who he is. This is the first time I'd ever seen him. And but the guy who I'd seen him talking about him, he obviously was from that community that, I don't know, I don't even know how far reaching that community is, but there's definitely people who watch the earthquakes, all the seismic stuff, like have been watching it for years and years. Didn't just start watching it from all of this activity, but that has got a lot more attention now. But there's people who've been doing it for a long time. This guy was one of those people. Like, he knew about fault lines and, you know, different things. And he was saying that it's supposed to be a 8.0. It's going to happen today. Like, today's the 3rd. So it's supposed to be from the 3rd to the 4th. There's supposed to be one. And then on the 6th to the 7th, I think, is the other date where there's supposed to be another one. And so this guy, he was saying that, because he must watch all these different things, and he was saying that it's looking like one of them, like the one today or the one later in the week, is going to hit Indonesia or the Philippines, which, oh my gosh, any of these that are going to get an 8, but gosh, some of these places when you see that are, you know, God, I mean, everything just falls down. So the Philippines and the storm yesterday in Texas, I saw so many people talking about that one. And these wind gusts, man, they bring in these fucking windstorm things. Like, man, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's just going to keep going like this until everything flips, and it hasn't flipped yet. Like, I mean, the markers for the flipping, I think, will be clear. The bank, the change in the president, you know, significant things are going to show that we flipped the other direction. To me, you know, as soon as censorship is lifted, like, I'm really restricted right now on TikTok. I think all day. I didn't even post one yesterday, but I have so many fucking videos. And I think all day yesterday was like 20 notifications. I think tonight, like 2. And, but I've been seeing a lot of people saying, like, they're really restricting us right now on talking on there because, I don't know, whatever, all the drama is going on. There's all these people who are going to shut down TikTok. And some people are really dependent on TikTok. It's going to really affect them, like, all of a sudden not having their Adderall, you know what I mean? So that's going to be, but, you know, that would be their own thing, that they have their own trigger, their own healing thing that they have to go through. There's going to be a whole bunch of those when this thing happens. But for me, when censorship or something happens that's going to all of a sudden, you know, flip things for me. It was funny yesterday too, because I was, the one baby who is 3 months old, my daughter will call and she'll always have him. It's like he's calling me. He's so cute too. God, he is cute. And it's so funny that the one side of the family, you always think he's so light. And on this other side of the family, he's like the darkest grandchild. And on their side, he's the lightest. It's so funny. But anyways, so she'd called and I was talking to him and stuff. And my granddaughter now has gone to go live with her. She left, like, there's so many things in people's lives are just, falling apart and breaking apart and stuff. So it is, super. There's just a lot of shifts in all of the things in everybody's life. It's for them to recognize their own path, to love themselves, to, are you doing it for you or are you doing it for somebody else? It's that, to really figure out who you are, what it is you want, not what everybody wants from you, but what it is you want. That's the game challenge, to find you through all of the bullshit. And but when I was talking to her, because I hadn't talked to her, man, I don't know, a few months I haven't talked to her, but I had music on or something, and there was a loud sound, and she said something about if this person, if it was this certain person, and because I, told all of them in 2017, I started saying, but none of them understand like a soul connection, like they don't understand. So I can't take it personally, that people think I'm crazy. They just don't understand. But anyways, when she had said that, and I said, oh yeah, I spent the night. And my daughter, she jumps in, because it's always like, oh my God, Mom, you just really need to get over this. You need to really become rational, that kind of thing. It's like, yeah, I'm so interested in how these, we'll see. So, anyways, today is, now it's going to be like, if that earthquake goes, because the one guy who was talking about the Philippine and Indonesia one thing too, he was talking more in depth about it. And when his conversations seemed definitely like he talks to people who know what the fuck he's talking about. So I was kind of lost. I wanted to go and ask questions, and I thought, I just, can't go in and start asking him. I would need to go in and do some research on it. But he was saying, if blah, blah, blah happens, then that's going to be the Cascade Fault Line. And that's going to really affect a lot of people. And that's the one I think I'm on. And I saw another girl, she was like showing all these different maps. And like I keep saying, like, there's all these maps, boy, they're just really mapping us out. They really got us under control, I'll tell you that. They're watching everything. It's like, it's so mental, I swear to God. It is so fucking much. Like, we're in the Hunger Games, we're under the dome, and they're all watching us all the time and controlling us. Like, dropping things down. It's such fucking nonsense. I just can't wait till everybody wakes up. Now let me think what I was going to say about that. Because, what was I just saying? Thought for a second, that'd be quick. Because it was something I was saying, and I always go and start saying another thing, and then it was like, what was I about to say about that? Because they're always watching us. They're always controlling us. Making us sick. Making us have to run to the doctor for everything. Oh, I wanted to say, too, about this. Maybe that'll come back to me, because I can't think of what it was. But, oh, yeah, it was something I'd seen. Oh, the fucking stuff going on in the mountains in California. Oh my gosh, because it's not even just up in Northern California. Like, there's a lot of bad stuff going on, like in Big Bear and Arrowhead and stuff. So it is, all of the higher elevations are under, I think some are 8 and 12, some may even be more. But on that one footage that I saw that was so creepy, is because they're like having to dig out these things, and it is like, I don't know, it looks like, man, it's so high up, And, you know, how stable they're making some of these ways to walk through. If it fell down on somebody, that would suffocate you. Like, how would you get them out of there? It'd be like the same as an avalanche. It's just like, oh, that just does not seem safe at all, especially when the snow starts melting and stuff. And, you know, if it starts going down, I don't know. Just when I saw that guy going through, I was just like, oh my God, that just seems so dangerous to do that. And, but there is, you know, more people talking about that, that they need help. I mean, even the ones where it's supposed to be the county's in charge, they're not doing anything, because it's the same thing as the Ohio one, Newsom. I mean, they're all going to be shown to be big pieces of shit. 98% of them are all going down. They're all going to the FS, so it's going to be going down, down, down. And so but the other, this other footage that I had seen in this one, because they were by Big Bear, and this lady was like crying. And she was like, you know, we need help. There's been no food, people don't have electricity, and people are trapped in their house. The same thing over and over in all these different mountains. I was just like, man, I wonder if they all know that each one is having these same tragedies. And then if this earthquake's going to come in today, and they've got, you know, snow all over in LA, snow all over. I've seen all these different people in LA going out and showing the footage of it snowing, and like, oh my God, I've never seen snow. And it's like, is it really snow? I don't know. Maybe you still haven't seen snow. It's like hard to say. We need an expert opinion, not a scientist. We need somebody who is legit, can go in and see. I know how many chemicals are in this stuff. Can we call it snow, really? And some of the stuff that comes down looks like styrofoam balls out of a UPS store. Like, you know, I don't know. It's just like manufactured, just like all their stuff, like the carrots, all these perfect snow little pellets coming out. It's like all the perfect carrots that come out. Man, I still wanted to say what it was I was going to say. Dang it. I wish I could think of what that was. Well, is it the fault line thing still? Because the one guy, he said, if you are, oh yeah, because the map thing. Okay, so the guy said, if you are anywhere by that fault line, he said, you better be prepared. And then the lady with the maps, because there's all these maps. And so this lady, she had a whole bunch of different ones, and she was showing like the map that showed all the different disasters, the map that shows this, a safe zone map, all these different things. And I think she was showing about air maps and air quality and what was going to be safe. But it was more than that, because it was more with storms or something. I don't even know all the things. But anyways, on this safe zone map, I kept looking at her maps, trying to see. And I was in a safe zone. And mine didn't have, right where I'm at, like this little edge, it didn't have all these colors, because it's these color circles on top of color circles, like by your air quality, by your this, by your that, of your potential for your most dangerous place to be right now. And some of the most dangerous is the southeast kind of like from where these storms keep going, this little, from Texas going across that little place, that's where it keeps showing is the air and stuff is really dangerous. I don't even know what all. Yeah, because I think at this point it's like there's water contamination. People hundreds and hundreds of miles away are having problems with the water. But see, I think that they also will use this derailment to their benefit. They'll go in and tamper with water all over the place and say, oh, well, you know, it's that. They'll speed it up. They'll say, oh my gosh, the water's already here. Oh, now we know. Well, we've already been poisoning you for weeks. Like, you know, over here, I know they've been poisoning us for a fucking year. And so, And who knows, like I said, it's going to affect all the different people all differently. And what it is that they're watching, you don't even know. And, over here where I'm at, like I said, I think, I bet you 85% of the people are on antidepressants or anxiety medicine or something. And I think that they do that. I think that there's how they do that. They get the whole area to be, and by the weather, by how things go, like whatever it is, that they do to create the environment. And then once they have that containment, so you have a certain chemical that everybody is on, then you can try this one and see what happens. Try this one, see what happens. Well, what if we had this one, and then put that one on top of it? Let's see what happens. And then you go in and you do lab work and stuff like that. And then they're always watching your data and seeing how different things are affected. Just like when they out of the blue told me that there's an epidemic of Hep C, so we need to check you. Like, they're always watching this stuff. I didn't see anything about that well, I don't watch the news, but, if there was an epidemic, I would think on social media we would have a lot of people, but, I guess if it's a stigmatized thing that nobody's going to say because everybody's, too busy being embarrassed, trying to be perfect for somebody else that they don't even know. I guess mental. Like on the, right now, I don't know, on my algorithm, they are always switching it. And all of a sudden now, like, I'll see these people who I've never seen before, and then I'll see, like, all their videos. And that cannot be happening with mine. Mine just must sit in a closet because my views don't change. But I'll see this person, and then I'll be like, oh, I've never seen them before. And then I'll just, like, see, like, every freaking video is the same person. And, I don't know what in the world that they do to be able to control it like that. And some of the stuff, I don't even know what the hell these people are talking about. But this guy, where he was saying about the fault line thing, then I was really like, man, I got to look up about it. I was like, several times now I've heard about this cascade thing. And so I got to see how close I am to this fault line. And, no matter what, I mean, there's only so much prepared you can be. I'm going to try and go get water today because I keep going through the water and stuff. It's weird because it seems like the things keep going faster than time or something. Like Stella is going through treats like crazy. And it's like, oh my gosh, how's she going through this many treats? And I still got another 2 weeks till I get paid. Like what? It's mental. It's like, how, I don't know. Everything just seems so off. Everything with time and reality. I really think that is the awakening, is the realization that nothing is real. And so everything does become disjointed. Everything does look weird and artificial. Everything does taste weird and artificial. It's just part of the whole thing with the awakening. But if you do go on that theory of the, not actually like the rapture being the Christ consciousness, that all of the people at once, when this flip happens, all of the people, this magical thing that happens for everybody who has been focused on that, and that to be what the rapture is. And so, but there, there's going to be people leaving. But to me, yeah, the rapture, what they're talking about in the Bible, like it's distorted for sure if they're trying to say it. But how all these people are hanging on it and waiting to be raptured, it's like right there you show you don't want to do the work. It's like that is not what Jesus was talking about. Like what? It was telling you how to do the work, where heaven is. It's inside of you. It is not outside of you. And it's your attitude, it's your changing you is where you are. It's the changing of life is the changing of you. And it's like these people are like, they just want a savior. They don't want to do their healing. They don't want to go and look at the stuff they've done. They don't want to, they just want this ultimate forgiveness. so that they can just, go sit at the feet of their God and sing for eternity. Like, it's madness. Like, seriously. But anyways, I don't think the rapture is what they think it is. And it does make a lot more sense, because the awakening is about the Christ consciousness, is about, focusing on your soul, focusing on what's inside of you. And so then that awakening this dormant side of yourself and moving in that direction, that to me is the rapture. And so that would be, the people who would, when the energy turns, like what I was saying yesterday, when the energy turns, and all the people who've been doing the work, that it's going to propel them. And then the people who are just waking up, because there's a lot of people who are just waking up, like, have been awake for a year and a half, 2 years, some people 6 months, like, it's all different. But so the people who are just waking up when it's going to get really hard, healing is hard work. And so the people who propel forward when things flip, that's the motivation for the people to keep doing the work, to keep, the eye on the prize. And then the people who are still very in the dark, that's the ones, like, it is, to see, are they going to split away? Because I had heard that one person talking about that it was going to be these 3 waves, and they kept talking about, like, the new earth. But when people talk about, they always talk about, like, it's a separate location, but it's a state of mind. And so, as the people who go into that state of mind and disconnect from this unnatural world that they want to keep you focused on, like, I've seen where people are putting out like calls or something. I don't know what to call it, but groups of people are out in the mountains building communities and going online and saying, anybody who wants to come out and be involved and is willing to, do some work, we're out here building communities. So it's already taken off, it's already going. When those start going, they're going to be living out there, living the high life, having a community, sitting around campfires talking. They're not working, they're just doing gardens, they're taking care of themselves. And so they're living a completely different life than the people who are still in the cities, struggling, rent getting raised, not having enough food, all of that stuff. So that would be the divide in realities. You'd have people out there who are living their best life, and then you have people and they're still struggling, trying to get ahead, never being able to get there, still being a part of this experiment and being controlled. And so in the next wave, so I don't even know how, because the people who talk about that stuff and saying the new earth as being in a separate place, but reality, we've all been living our own realities on the same place. It's like the same thing. And so there will be people who will go into really good reality, and then people will go into a really toxic one. But the toxic ones are going to keep getting more and more toxic, pushing the people to do the work, to go inside, to heal, and to get them to go into their best life. And so that will be the third wave. There's like a more stuck group or something. I've heard several people talking about that as being some kind of a thing with this wave. And I don't know, with the information now that I keep putting together, I was like, that to me makes the most sense, is that when this flip thing happens, that it's going to be so good for the people who've been putting their energy in towards themselves. And then it's going to motivate the other people, and then that's going to, it's all a movement. It's all a movement towards the light. And that is where more and more, leave them for the dark. And more, they'll stick with the artificial. More and more of them will keep dying and dying because they keep being poisoned. And so there's no, that is how that side ends up no longer existing, because so many of us just keep pulling free from it and going and living our own lives and not participating. And so that is how it, ends up feeding amongst its own self. It kills itself. It's like the parasitic lifestyle runs out of something to feed off of. At some point when they've only got, 100 workers, I mean, how many billionaires, they don't want to, they like to keep their money in a bank or in a vault, just say who's got more money or something. It's not like they want to do anything with it or help anybody with it. They just all want to compete. Like, I've got 3 kids stored down in my storage. I've got $7 billion. It's like it's just such a game to them. It is a game, but see, as long as we keep playing their game, then we're gonna feel empty, and we're just pawns in their game until we pull free and say, this is my life, and I'm gonna live the game the way I want to live it. I'm not gonna live the way you tell me I have to live, especially like when there's people out there still living in tribes and stuff that they haven't been taken. It's like, that's how we should all have just remained living. They should have never come in and broken up the different communities, tribes, and groups like that. Their whole thing was just to create workers, just to create the people to control. And then they manipulated the people, but they always fed off of the ego of what you can have. You can have, salvation. You sit at the feet of God and seeing, if you just do this, take these steps, these requirements. So they're always telling us the rules, the requirements, and then the punishment. Their whole thing is all set up in the same parameters or something. And that is completely against the universal action of all things, all possibilities. And you're responsible for what you put out. It's your reverberation. It's your is that what you're putting out will come back on you. And so, that's a big thing that people really have to recognize for themselves. But I think that is going to be a part, because it seems like people don't understand like about intention and stuff. Like, they think if somebody does something to them, that they obviously did it on purpose. They obviously did it because they knew how you were going to feel. They obviously did it because they wanted to hurt your feelings. They wanted to make you feel bad. It's the same thing that I've been talking about is how, somebody could not mean to hurt your feelings at all, and your feelings are crushed. And that is it's because it's inside of you. But we all get all upset at the other person because they hurt our feelings. No, it's because your feelings are in their hurt and you're just ignoring them. And now they're trying to remind you that there's something in there you need to look at. And there's so many people too who are doing the work, who recognize that this is doing their soul work. Like, this is propelling them in a whole it's like a soul elevation, doing the work right now, because you're cleaning up so much pain from a whole bunch of different past lives, not just from the pain and trauma you've gone through in this one. So that's another thing that a lot of people are recognizing. But still not a lot of talk about reincarnation. But you go and you say something about that, then yeah, people will come in and attack you, because they're still, Jesus. It was like, oh my Lord. It's like, it just is, it's just so clear as how many of them just don't, like, I don't know. It's all by intention. Like, do they understand? Do they know? Because it's one thing when you do know and you're just, playing a game, or if you don't know and this is your lesson. But the lessons are going to sting because, for obvious reasons. And it's all about the ego. It's all about time to do that work. So, And just, remember that it's just humbling yourself, just humble yourself, just, call yourself out, just say, it isn't, and people, gotta get over being embarrassed about everything and feeling judged by everybody. It's you judging you. Most people are so busy judging themselves, they don't have time to worry about the booger hanging out of your nose. They're so focused on, do my eyebrows match today? Do I have the same socks on? Everybody's so like, that they're not sitting there. But then you have people who are hyper focused on every little thing, and they're so focused on them, they gotta be so perfect that as they're going out in the world, they're looking for every little fucking thing that's wrong, every little detail. And so that, again, that's nothing wrong with you. That's this person's hyper awareness. Like, did you know you have more mascara on that eye than you do this eye? It's like, no, but thanks for telling me. Like, do I need to go fix it? Like, there's, and then, but you got to realize, like, man, what it must be like to be wound that tight. To be so, like, concerned about every little fucking thing. Doesn't match, is it perfect? And I feel like I lived, I have compassion for that, because I feel like I lived part of that, when I was a type A. I just feel, to me, it is one of those things, it's the path, it's the growth, it's the journey, where all of a sudden, where I realized, like, fuck, that brain injury did me a goddamn favor. So many favors that it was so hard to see in the beginning, the favors that it was doing for me. But to release me from time, to release me from, it was just so many things. The biggest thing, I swear, was when I just realized, like, how many things people hold on to. Like, people hold on to shit. Like, just to, like, well, back then in 1967, I remember when that guy, he came up and he said, it's like, oh my gosh, you hold on to things that don't matter. You just got to let go of some of this shit, because you got to free up some space. So, like, free up some space in your mind, free up some space in your, keeping yourself wound too tight, focused on, I can't believe this, I can't believe that, blah. You know what I mean? Instead, just let it go. And that was the beautiful thing that happened, because I was way more type A. Everything had to be perfect. Oh, wait, that should be over there. That everything had to be in, like, the perfect little alignment or something. I was really anal. And then after, it's just like, well, whatever. Who cares? Yeah, who cares? Well, maybe that would look better with that next to it. I don't know. Just take everything out and put in something different. It was like everything, all of a sudden, it was like things that I used to think were so important, all of a sudden had no importance at all. And then the total no grasp of time, which I'm having such a hard time with lately on a bigger scale. Back then it was like, somebody could say, okay, well, we're going to go in an hour. And I could be sitting there and I could look up and it'd be like, oh my God, it's been 3 hours. I already missed it. Like, what? How did it be 3 hours already? Or it could be like, 10 minutes. It's that same thing as where, if you're doing something, I think a lot of people have had the experience about time, like when you're driving somewhere. You're driving somewhere and you don't know where you're going and stuff like that. And it seems like it takes you so long. Or if you're stressed out about getting there, if you feel like you're late or something, it'll feel like it's so long. And then you are headed home and it's like you got there in 2 seconds. It's like, it's about our focus. It's about what we're looking at. It's about what we're paying attention to. It isn't about the actual trip. The trip is containing us. The trip is controlling our minds. It isn't about that. It's about the time, and it's about how we look at time. It's about how we value time. And it just really came to me after the brain injury, because I had no track of time anymore. And so it started being like that, where it was just like, if I was busy doing something, I would have no concept of time. And then if it was some other thing, it would be like, it was just dragging and dragging. And I don't know, it was just weird. And I don't know if it had to do too with, because I didn't have a job anymore. And it was just like, but I just totally lost grasp of time, where it was like, I had no idea if it's been 10 minutes or it's been 2 hours. I couldn't even tell anymore. And it bothered me when it was happening, because everything I kept seeing as a deficit. Kept seeing, oh my God, now I've got this wrong. Oh my God, I've got this wrong. Oh my God, they've broke me. Oh my God. Oh, how am I going to fix this? What am I going to do? How am I going to survive? How am I going to, and it was hard, man. I swear. In the very beginning, it was really hard, because I couldn't tell the difference between a dream and a real life. It was like I couldn't, if I would try and think of something, it was like I had no idea if it really happened or if it didn't happen. I had no idea if I dreamt it. And it could be so many things. Like everything was becoming just a merge at that time. And kind of like where you say, where I was talking about like somebody, like my friend, when she was trapped, or the people in Turkey who were trapped or whatever. And then they'll say that somebody was coming in and talking to them and they were never alone. Well, it's kind of like the same kind of thing. Is it was like, it's like when people are dying, and they just keep going in different realities. They're just not glued down to this one. That's what was like kind of happened to me for a while. And I was just very scattered. I couldn't tell. I couldn't recognize people. The kids kept saying, like I had dementia. They didn't know what was wrong. They would tell me something, and I would turn around and ask them again. And I kept saying the same things over and over. And, I was very, I couldn't remember how to get to places. I would get lost. Oh my gosh, it was just such a struggle. My bank account kept going over by a lot too. Like at one point it was like $900 overdrawn. And I was like, man, I couldn't, it was like I couldn't participate in how life was anymore. That was hard. Because then it was like, oh my gosh, I'm broken. I didn't see that the system was broken. That took, years of going through healing and stuff. Because it was at some point where they started really pointing out to me about like, land should be free. This is crimes against humanity. Why are we having to pay for this? How are they charging us for that? Because that happened more back around 2016, I can't remember, because 2017 was when the big trigger thing happened that really changed so much of my things. It put me on this whole journey that I know all of this, like, I can't wait to talk more about this past 5 years, because to me it's going to be fascinating to, even just to talk to the other person. It's going to be so fascinating to, just to hear, what was going on with me and what was going on the other side. So I'm really excited about that kind of stuff. But, and so always in my thing, it's like, well, was it before? Because mine was always, my healing journey was so segmented in these different parts. So, I don't remember all of the different things, but there was definitely a part where, like when I was just being flooded, like when I would go in and take a shower, and it was like this old Indian guy would come in, and he was just, oh my God, it was so funny. I don't even know where he's gone. He could still be talking, but maybe now there's just way too many talking or something. Because now I very much feel like, I don't know how to explain it. Like having a serious business, Like I'm in my mission. Like I'm doing this thing that's like my assignment or something. Like what I came here to do, the role that I came to play. The other part was, the whole other part of my life was the preparing. It was just preparing me for this part that I'm about to play. And so it's crazy how, how they've shown me this and told me this and all of this stuff. So anyways, I can't wait to get to the other side and be able to talk about all of this leading up to it once it happens. And I can't even wait to have some of these conversations just with some of my kids. Like, man, yeah, we'll see. We'll see how this all goes down. But I think that there's gonna be some stuff. So if the fault line does go, I mean, it's gonna go. I mean, that's for sure. We already know it's unstable. We're having them all over, like the big, huge ones. I think I'd seen that video a couple weeks ago, the Japan one, and it was really high. When like all these places are having huge, huge earthquakes, so we're gonna have one, like for sure. Like America's not above all this stuff, and and there's gonna be so much instability because of all the moisture, and so there's gonna be, definitely the whole landscape is gonna change. I just don't know how sudden it's gonna change. But so if it does go today, then that guy was saying, that could affect our power. That could be what takes it out on the whole West Coast, is a huge earthquake in LA or California or anything. I don't know how this whole power grid is structured. I don't know. I'm shocked how throughout this that I've only lost power for a few minutes a few times. Like, I don't know. But it made me feel good when I saw the one map that no matter what goes, like I do feel like I'm up in this little tiny corner, that I will be safe. I'm not going to go out in the chaos. That's for sure. If they start, I don't know. We'll just have to see. We just got to see what's going to happen and go with the flow. That's all we can do, is just, stay with it and, just keep pulling free and keep doing the work on you. And, the people who are still really trapped in trying to please the system to make themselves feel good, to, get that special medal. You're a good person. You're a really good person. You did this. You're the creation of the SJW. It's all building on people's egos, and so many more people now are saying, I was saying this on Next Door, and it got me in a big old fight with Ted Royal, but about that what's going on here has already gone on before. Why can't you people see what's going on? And we're repeating history. So gotta wake up and see what's happening. But the whole thing is the awakening is just slow. It's hard, and they keep you trapped by using your ego on you. And you gotta let go of that and work on that and really start listening to what's inside of you. Because that is the thing. Like, when the things I talk about, like to my family and stuff, they don't understand spiritual stuff. So I sound like I'm crazy all the time saying stuff. I say about soul connection with somebody and stuff. It's like they don't understand that. That to them is like ridiculous. Like, okay, that's a nice little fantasy land you live in. It's like, but no, this is real. Like, soul, this whole place, this is about your soul. This is about your spirit. Like, how did they get people to be so off on that? That is just trips me out. But that's part of the game. It's part of, can you remember? Can you remember who you are? Or are you going to chase around who you think you are, basically? So, anyways, I'm going to download this. But, I'm thinking, and then plus there's all of this stuff where they're saying that the Wall Street is going to go. I don't even remember. I think it seems like a lot of the stuff, what people are talking about, is all being associated with this planetary system lineup thing, that what is happening with it. So I think it is going to be, I think over the next couple of weeks, we're going to see big changes. That's what I think. So I do think by later in March, we'll have shifted directions. I think over the next 2 weeks, it's going to be the shift. However it's going to go down. If it's going to be multiple things that are going to keep turning, or if it's going to be a huge thing, I don't know. But I think over the next couple of weeks, it's going to be the shift. Something with all the different things going on, the different things that people are saying, the different things with the planetary alignment, just the way the energy, the whole thing. So I feel like that over the next couple of weeks, we're going to see big changes. So we'll see. But even if it isn't, just stay working on you. That's the biggest thing, is just really keep everything that happens in your life is for you to heal or work on something. So just keep looking at that, and as you go through your life, anything that happens, why is this happening? It's happening so I can see something I need to heal, something I need to release. And so just stay on top of that. And, hopefully people really do realize that you are healing multiple lives, not just this one. And it's just weird how people won't claim reincarnation, but they'll say they're healing multiple lives. It's like, I don't know. Everything is so manipulated here. There's so much more that's going to be expanded in our truth and our knowing, and it's going to be, or I just know we're headed to something really, really wonderful, really great, and really exciting. And it's going to be something like what we've never experienced before. And so it's really going to be a beautiful experience. What really trips me out too is how many people, as part of the game, did come in to find each other in this thing. That's what I think is also interesting about this whole thing. So anyways, we'll just see. Just stay working on you, and there's going to be more trauma, there's going to be more sadness, and that's what we're going through. It's the end of something and the beginning of something new. But just remember that, that I was thinking I'll share that little video of all the flowers, because I just thought that's trippy that this video came into my thing and all these flowers blooming when I was just talking about that with this change and the flowers and all of that. So anyways, we are at this really beautiful time. They want to keep it overshadowed with all of their crime and all of their things, the stuff that we want to just let go of. But we've got to go through this process. So anyways, take care of yourself and stay safe, and just keep working on you. And I'll talk to you later. Bye.